is it possible to Aesthetics of the Revolution or the Remaking of Utopian Imaginary into Attainable Reality. The two speakers are Raluca Bejan and Bezrat Khosravi Nouri. Raluca Bejan is a social work PhD student at University of Toronto. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Sciences from Lucian Blaga University, Sibiu, Romania, and a Master of Social Work from University of Toronto. Her PhD plan of study, funded via Joseph Armand Bombardier Canada Graduate Scholarship and awarded by Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, aims to critically explore how scholarly discourses of newcomers' labor market integration are conceptually produced and epistemologically positioned within the knowledge production field. Her work has been published in the Canadian Ethnic Studies and the Canadian Journal for Social Research. Bezrat Khosravi Nouri graduated with a Master's in Motion Picture from Tarbiat Modares University in Tehran, Iran, and a Master's in Public Art from Konstfack University College of Art and Design in Stockholm, Sweden. He is currently a filmmaker and guest researcher at Konstfack within the Department of Fine Arts. His artistic praxis takes a critical view of social, political, and cultural issues by continually juxtaposing the relationality between fine art and documentary film. His last film, Reverberation, currently screening at Texta Konsthall in Stockholm, has received much media and public attention and was covered by a number of Swedish media outlets, including Stockholm, TSC, Gothenburg-Posten, Metro Stockholm, and CBD Sweden. Thank you, and my apologies for my problems with the pronunciation.
Hello, everyone. My collaborator could not make it today. He is in Iran right now, so I'm just going to present all this. I feel a little bit out of space because I'm not really into the film studies whatsoever, but I'm just try to present this as best as I can. I'm also not a Mac user, so hopefully I'm going to be able to do this. But I think so. One good thing of doing a PhD, I think that you have this opportunity or of possibility to experience with a lot of things. And I'm not just going to present this work today, but I'm also going to reflect on the process of doing this work, because this is a very clear example of taking a concept and doing the whole abstractization process to present an idea and then bringing it back to practice and be, okay, how can you, in a way, present something that's more complex into a very simple form and bring it back to this idea of practice, which I think is just very important, because a lot of time in academia we talk about a lot of things, but like nothing really gets translated at the ground floor. So basically what we have done, we have taken a video essayistic approach. We call it like micronarrativity. It's based from Farouk in Germany. And basically we have commented on social-based images of protests while we try. So we actually wanted to make, in a way, a discourse starting from the image. And the idea that we start from, it's that, in a way, just in the realm with social media, now protests are getting filmed. It's not just, you have someone taking photos or someone filming protests. Like, you just have people who are also participating in these protests. And then, in a way, we thought, if we can film these images that these people take, we just make everything, like, we're moving away from this idea of having one individual applying his lens on looking at the world. So that was sort of what we have tried to do. And we have started from this idea, we have read a Time magazine, came up in June 2013. It was Edward Snowden, and people were saying that whatever his action were in a way guided by these utopian ideals. And then if you sort of like look through media, you see that all these protests, I mean, from Occupy Toronto to whatever happened in Turkey, they're all branded as being utopic. Like, they're not real. So the idea is, so you have this capitalist reality, but then you have everything that's in opposition to this capitalist reality is branded as non-real. So like, why is that? Like, why do we think about things like that? So that was just something that we wanted to talk. And methodologically, as I said, we have followed this film editing process where imagery comments on the image and then translates it into text. So that's what we have tried to do. So we have followed images through the screen and getting into this representation of the representation in itself. That's why we put a photo of Edward Snowden reading a newspaper about himself. So that we just thought this is a good presentation on this. I'm just going to show the film right now. So this is basically, we have made, this is very work in progress, I should have said this. So we have made this trailer that we plan to develop more. So that's the trailer that I'm going to show, and this is the first step that we have taken in the project. We have made this, I think, in July or August. Okay, so. not sure if I find. Oh, it's a PDF. So So basically, I mean, we try to play just with a few ideas in terms of, like, we have used sound from certain protests and images from other protests, and we have tried to find these, we have tried to portray this relationality in terms of just what's happening. And we just also thought it's very good to try to keep footages as, like, you know, it's fine to have bad quality of footage, because like, it's like, you know, a lot of things in life that just don't necessarily look perfect. So we just really thought it's very good to sort of keep that that bad footage. And so we just, yeah, I mean, this process of relationality, we have seen so many images where you will find, you know, on the streets of Turkey, you will find, for instance, a gas canister that was had an inscription "Made in Brazil." So we just thought that's just like very interesting of how these people, like what's happening, like these people are connected, everything is connected, but in a way it's portrayed as not being real. Like, why is that happening? So this is basically just what I said. And the thing is, we have tried, so we have showed this sort of trailer to a few people in academia, and everyone was saying, well, it's not very clear, and it's sort of abstract, and the text is very heavy, and, you know, like, who are you, what do you want to do this, who do you want to see it? And then I was thinking, okay, so it's back to this question of, in a way, translating knowledge. So how can you make, I mean, this is in a way a very simple idea. Something is portrayed, something is real, is not portrayed as real. Why is that? So the idea is simple, but then we ended up presenting it in a way that's not simple. So then how can we make it back into being simple? So we just said, you know, Toronto Urban Film Festival is coming up, so why not we just translate this idea into a 1 minute silent film that we just make it very simple, that we can just cater it towards like a very everyday audience. So we have submitted for Toronto Urban Film Festival, and we got in. I mean, and everything actually, I just found this very interesting, the same, that it's actually the same idea, but how we managed to package it so differently. So Toronto Urban Film Festival, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it. It's considered one of like the coolest film festivals in Toronto. This year had 82 selections from over 20 countries, and the films are usually 1 minute, and they're shown in just monitors across subway, I think, for about a week. So the idea is that Toronto Urban Film Festival sort of challenges the public norm in terms of what film is. They have these like short, silent, sweet, diverse, and inventive films, but it's not really a political film festival. So we wanted also to see, well, how can we politicize something that's not political? So can you recontextualize in a way the political in a very mainstream spectatorship? So that was also something we wanted to see. So what we said is, you know, we try to make this connection between hyper-individualist to hyper-collectivist, because the idea is protests, again, are collective, but they are done by individuals. Like, there are people who are part of this protest. So the idea is making the link between individual and collective to, in a way, how do you say in English? So to make this connection, so you can show, well, not to show, but in a way to portray people's capacity to change societies. So I'm just going to show now this silent film that got in for So the idea was that, you know, it's as I said, is the same concept, is the same something that, you know, that's presented, a label and unreal. You want to make it to make it real, to make it possible, and how you do that in very simple way. And we really played with the text, and it is very interesting because we have actually just put synonyms of one word into, oh, you can change, you can do this, and we just found that very, very interesting, just how can you just like simplify things. I'm sorry again, but I don't know how to go to my presentation. It's annoying. But this is the last thing I'm showing, so. So basically, we use this, I have 5 minutes? Okay, I will finish in 5 minutes. So we use this narration, hey you, to symbolically blend individualism and collectivism, and like to move away the discourse from impossibility to possibility, and to, as I said, to create this idea into a passive spectatorship. Because even if you look, I mean, Toronto Urban Film Festival, it's in 70 years, but there are not really a lot of political films. Like, they're just not, it's not something that the goal of the festival is. And in a way, to have this idea, to transform inactability into political actability. So the idea is that we have used Film Act as a tool for social change. I mean, of course, it doesn't mean that we have actually ended up changing anything per se, but we have sort of used this as a revolutionary practice, we think. And we think it's also very interesting that if you talk about protest and if you talk about revolution, how do you talk about it should be also politicized and not just an apolitical thing. And I think I'm just going to finish earlier, and thank you so much.